Good afternoon, everyone. We can just have our seats and we will go ahead and get started. My name is Daniel Koroma. I'm the Business Liaison Officer here. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming this afternoon as we expand the Business Connect program. Some of you joined us during Small Business Week when the county executive launched the Business Connect program in York County. And this is an expansion of that program. So before we get started, I'm just going to recognize the officials that are in the room, and then from there, I'll call Mr. Roberto Rodriguez, who will come and introduce them so we can get started. And of course, County Executive is here, so thank you so much, County Executive, for coming. And we also have County Council members, Jawando and Councilmember Tom Hucker. And we are privileged to have the Deputy Secretary of Commerce in the state of Maryland, Mr. Benwood. Thank you so much for coming. We also have within the administration, we have the Special Assistant to the County Executive, Mr. Dale Tibbet is here. We have ACAO Jerome Fletcher, who is here, and he's my boss. My boss's boss. But also want to recognize some of the community leaders who have actually not only advocated for the Business Connect program, and many of them have actually been doing, excuse me, before I go to community leaders, I see Mr. Ash Shetty, who is the Director of the Office of Procurement in Montgomery County, is also here as well. In terms of community leaders, I want to recognize Silver Spring Inc., Village Inc. Karen Roper is here. Thank you, Karen. Again, I don't want to make any mistake. Mr. Juru Bandi is here, who's the Director for the East County Regional Service Center. Thank you, Juru, for coming. And I see, let me see. Some of our small business owners who have been in the forefront, as they're the ones that have been taking advantage of the services that have been opened up in here in the Silver Spring Library. I would like to thank Lainey for providing the amazing food. Thank you, Lainey. Right? Can we give her an hand? Oh, Kafa Cafe. So, yeah, there you go. So that's right. A local small business who have been doing it. But we also have another local small business owner, Susan, who is here from Jaha Hair Salon. Thank you so much for coming. With that being said, let me go. I cannot even go without recognizing the folks from the Silver Spring Library. Thank you so much, Izu and the library team, for all what you did to help us as we put this together. So thank you so much. And then when I come back next, I'll recognize our business resource partners, who are the ones really that are providing their classes, the counseling, and then we within the Business Solutions Group provide the connection to the county resources. So without further ado, the Silver Spring Area Manager, Director, Mr. Roberto Rodriguez. Thank you.
I've got the easiest job in the world. Thank you, Daniel, to welcome you to Silver Spring. You're here in the middle of an area called Fenton Village that has over 200 businesses within easy walking distance of here. And Silver Spring proper, the region where once the Purple Line is built, within south of the Beltway, everyone will be within 22-minute, maximum of 22-minute walking distance from a Purple Line station. So the transformation happening in Silver Spring is real, and we want to welcome you to this space. And we're running a little late, so we're going to move forward expediently, and we will want to ask first and foremost to come say a few words. Our county executive, please.
So I'm really happy to be here. This is Business Connect version 2.0. We opened the first one in the Up County. This is the second one we're doing. It's part of a program that I wanted to get started with my new administration, which is basically trying to make Montgomery County more business friendly, finding out what are the issues in the business community, but also being able to help the business community. So my friend Cindy Katz and I, we did a bunch of listening sessions. We're still taking input. Now we're taking written input. We're looking for people's comments on how the county works. Are we serving you well? What are the issues you encounter? when you deal with the county. We're going to take that advice and information and turn it into policy changes. Ash Shetty from my procurement department is here. We've already started making policy changes. We've shrunk our contracts, and which is a big change. We're going to be unbundling things so that more people are able to bid on contracts in Montgomery County. That's going to be a significant change. And one of the four things I was going to talk about today is we sent legislation over to the council that will give businesses, local businesses, preferences, 10 percentage points and preferences also on pricing, so that local business will have a better chance of competing in Montgomery County. When they go to Prince George's County, they run into preferences. We've had people tell us the reason they located and moved to Prince George's County was that Prince George's County would preference them, and they could bid in Montgomery County because there were no preferences for local businesses. So they had the best of both worlds, and our folks had to compete against businesses from Prince George's County, but couldn't go over and effectively compete in Prince George's County. So we're leveling the playing field, and our hope is this drives more business into the local businesses here. Thank you. So we're introducing in this library 2 new business supports too, the Gale Business Plan Builder and the Gale Business Demographics Now. These are tools that are useful to businesses to help identify what your market is. When you know where you are, it'll tell you everything you need to know about what's around you. So these are the kind of tools that small business people need. It's also helpful to developers, but it's really helpful to small businesses. For Plan Builder, especially helpful to small businesses. And we have a climate survey, which I said is available till September 30th for you to fill out a survey on the business climate in Montgomery County. Again, gives people an opportunity to tell us what you think so we can do something about it. When I started this journey, people would say, well, you're just gonna, first I was running for election, I would actually never do this. Then when I started doing it, it was like, well, you're gonna go out and listen, but you're not gonna change anything. But then when we started changing things, people stopped doing the, well, you're not going to part anymore. We're really serious about doing what we said we were gonna do. And we're well down that road. So today with the Business Connect program in Silver Spring, there are going to be classes, connections, and counseling. There's going to be programming here in this library and also at the Long Branch Library. So there'll be 2 locations and the Long Branch Community Center. I want to thank our partners, Latino Economic Development Center, Maryland Women's Business Center, SCORE, Life Asset, and Impact Silver Spring, everybody for working with us on this. And Jerome, can you get introduced before? Yeah, okay. I'm looking at you and I'm thinking, did he get introduced? But I'll say it again, Jerome Fletcher, who's my ACAO and working on economic development. So I'm excited about this. I'm hopeful that people will start taking advantage of it. Our goal is to put these in all of the regional service centers, so wherever you are in Montgomery County, you're close to one of these centers, you can go there and you can get help, and we can start changing the environment for small businesses and get them some of the support they need. And I'm hoping our programs will go beyond this, and that when we start getting into incubators, we'll be able to provide even greater levels of support for people wanting to start small businesses. So I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out today, the council members, Mr. Wu from the state, thank you very much. Daniel, thank you. And who's next?
Our deputy next.
Good afternoon, everybody. Now, I want to, on behalf of Governor Hogan, congratulate Montgomery County for the success of Business Connect. I was privileged to be here in May for the launch of Business Connect, and it has been very successful in the Up County, and it's been so successful that it's being replicated here in Silver Spring with the goal, as the county executive mentioned, to take it to the East County, to Bethesda, and to Central County, to the Mid-County regions. I asked Umberto and Daniel, because we were celebrating back in May the kickoff for a Small Business Week. And so I said, well, is there a celebration for today? And they said, no, it's just a good time to get everybody here. So it's always great to celebrate success, Roberto. There's so many people who really deserve a lot of credit for making sure the Business Connect exists, that there are classes, there's counseling, and there's connections made for small businesses to continue to thrive and grow in Montgomery County and in the state of Maryland. And I think a lot of that credit really goes to the county executive. The county executive has really shown that businesses are important. You know, Marc suggested that a lot of people may have been surprised when he said that he was going to make business growth and making the path for business success a priority in his administration. Well, I wasn't surprised. And I wasn't surprised because Marc told me he was going to do that. He told me right after the election that that was important to him. It was important to him and to the county, and important for his administration to be as successful as it can be. For that, Marc, congratulations, and thank you for your leadership, Mr. Executive. I know that you've been also supported by Jerome, the Assistant Chief Administrative Officer, and all of the team over in Montgomery County, especially in the Business Solutions group. But it really takes leadership. We know that in the state because Governor Hogan, when he was first elected, right after the Augustine Commission recommendation suggested that Maryland was clearly not able to, or not meeting its assets, and not being as successful as it could relative to its assets, that he made it a priority for economic development and growth throughout the state to flourish. And that was the mandate that all the state agencies had. And that leadership, your leadership, Mr. Executive, really makes a difference. And I know that that importance is shared also by the County Council and the presence of Councilmembers Hucker and also Jawando underscores the importance and the collaboration that we all have to make sure that economic development, business growth, and the ability to knock down barriers for our small businesses is critical as we continue to grow our state and county's economy. We've been very fortunate in our state. The state of Maryland continues to lead the Mid-Atlantic in job growth. We have been able to reduce in the past 4 years the unemployment by 1.5%, but we're hitting a point where that we can't just go ahead and continue without more support and more leadership and more direct engagement. And so that's what we're celebrating here today. Even though it may not be Small Business Week, we are celebrating the success of Business Connect. Being able to make Maryland a much friendlier, easier, and more welcoming place to do business. Being able to assist Montgomery County companies to be able to navigate the regulatory framework, to be able to push for regulatory reform, and also to be able to share ideas, to be able to provide mentors for those small businesses and entrepreneurs that want to do business here in Montgomery County. This model of Business Connect is similar to what the state has been doing with the Maryland Business Express. And we've seen that to be a success, to be able to provide that information for small businesses and small business owners, and with the added benefit of the counseling and the connections and the classes, Business Connect in Montgomery County has an opportunity to be even more successful. So it's a pleasure to be here, as the County Executive mentioned, for Business Connect 2.0. We're looking forward to 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0 throughout the rest of the county. So thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me here for this fantastic launch. Everyone knows Montgomery County is the home to such an incredible diversity of businesses. As the Deputy Secretary said, Maryland is leading the Mid-Atlantic in job creation. We also know Montgomery County is the economic engine of the state. And yet, while we have Fortune 500 companies like Marriott and MedImmune and Lockheed Martin that get a lot of attention, it's really our small businesses that I've felt for a long time don't get nearly enough attention, and enough attention from the county government leadership in particular. Many of our small businesses in particular are owned by women, people of color, and veterans. Out of 120,000 firms, 46,000 are owned by women, 51,000 are owned by people of color, and 9,000 are owned by veterans. And those are the firms that often struggle the most to succeed and need the most help from the government. I've believed this for a long time. That's why I worked years ago as deputy secretary to get a DBEG grant for Denizens Brewing Company when they started. That's why I started Silver Spring Restaurant Week and Silver Screens to get more customers on the street to patronize our small businesses. But those are annual events. It's so much more powerful when the county government, under the leadership of the county executive, comes together and says, we're going to create a new program to make our small businesses succeed year-round. That's truly transformative. And it's so important, I think, that you're including counseling in all this. Our small businesses are as diverse as their owners and their markets. And I think too often the government says, here's a 400-page manual, and you should read through this and then let us know how you want to take advantage of all these programs we have. And it's much more powerful if you can have an individual counseling session with a Judy Stevenson or some of our other great staff who can work with you on a customizable solution and help you prioritize the solutions that we have to meet your business's needs. That's going to be incredibly successful and productive, I think, for meeting the needs of our individual small businesses. I'm particularly glad you're launching it here in Silver Spring, and that you'll be expanding it to Long Branch Library as well. And I'm excited to hear about the plans to expand in Mid-County and Bethesda and East County as well. So I want to echo the thanks to Riumberto and Daniel and to Jerome, to all the partners at the County Executive Bank, and in particular, I want to thank the County Executive and to Marc for keeping your promise that you made during the election. Not everybody believed, but we're seeing the fruition of it today. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. I'm Will Jawando. I'm a council member at large. I'm also on the Economic Development Committee and on the Education and Culture Committee, where I serve as the lead for libraries. So I first want to say thank you, Mr. County Executive, for co-locating here at a library. One of the things we heard when we kicked off our library tour here at Silver Spring was that many people come through the doors with many needs, and they're not just here to check out a book or a video or a tape. They're here for county services. They're here because they need to get on the internet. They're here because they want to start a business. And so I think by co-locating here and recognizing that we can use our libraries in partnership with this great service is going to be a great thing. It's a great day for small businesses in Montgomery County. I think we can't overstate enough, 90% plus of our businesses are less than 50 people here in the county. Over 80% are less than 15. And so that's really driving our economy here in Montgomery County. And so everything that we can do to support our small, medium-sized businesses as they grow, as they try to acquire grants, get in procurement, all that is going to help. I look forward to the legislation that the county executive mentioned, giving local preference. I'm also working on some legislation in the procurement area, so I'll be talking to you about that and the Small Business Reserve Program to make that more streamlined. But we really need to take these steps. My mom and my dad are both small business owners. My mom has a catering business, my dad a transportation service. And it was hard for them to get started. I had to help them a lot and take some time off and walk them through the steps, but I didn't have a place necessarily to send them. Now I can send them to the library here in Long Branch, Silver Spring, when they need a class or they want to go to the next level. So this is a great day. I want to commend the county executive for taking this step and keeping his promise, and we're going to be working with you on the council to make sure that we get this around the rest of the county. Thank you very much.
And before we bring Daniel back up, there's one more individual we need to introduce who's making East County happen, and that's Jawando, director of the East.
Thank you, Riumberto. So lastly, the classes, counseling, and the connection that will happen throughout the Silver Spring area would not happen without our business resource partners. So I want to thank every one of them who are here today. I know we have represented the SBDC, and I see Paul. Paul, thank you so much for what you're doing. I know SCORE is in the house. Where's Matt? Here you go. And actually, Matt, can you stand up? Let me recognize you real quick. Matt has actually been helping businesses in this space. And last year, you helped, what, 200 businesses?
250 a year come through here.
So 250 businesses a year, entrepreneurs and small businesses. that he's been making with us. So thank you so much for that. I know LEDC is in the house. Where's Richard? Richard is right there. Thank you, Richard, for the work that you guys are doing, especially with Bonafont, the businesses that are there, but also the other programs that you guys are working on. I see Life Assets. So thank you. And these are the senior loan officers from Life Assets, so they're helping entrepreneurs and small businesses with access to capital. But none of this will happen if it wasn't for the Business Solutions Group. So I want to take this time to recognize my colleague, Ms. Julia Steven. Can you please come on? Come on up, come on up. Dance Walker, can you come on? Come on up, come on up. Yeah, come on up, that's right. I don't want to be the only one to be on camera, that's right. Come on over. Come on. Again, this is the Business Solutions team, and we want to thank you and thank the county executive. So that's been said, I think.
Picture time?
Picture time? Okay, let's take a picture, and then Lenny, thank you again. We still have more cookies and network to do. So thank you so much, everyone, again, for coming, and have a good one. You're welcome. Thank you.